everybody, I'm Bill Sanders, and this is WatchArtSci, the art and science of watch collection. Today, we're going to take a look at Martin's collection. I call it the comfortable collection because it's a collection that would seem to stay within certain parameters, financially and just about every other way. And I think this is an important thing for watch collectors. If you try to go somewhere that will make you uncomfortable in one way or the other, if somebody talks you into a watch you really don't like or something like that, I think it's very important to get to know our own taste and be comfortable with our collection. And I sense that with Martin. I have special sensors for that. Okay, let's take a look at that. The first one up there is the Breitling-Colt automatic, and it's got a caliber 17, a Breitling caliber 17 in it, and it's based on an ETA 2824-2. And this is from a period from about 1999 to 2005. I think that's the window that they made these things in. And it's it just sort of a nice solid. I'll call it a sports watch. I'm not. I don't think it's a diver. It's a Colt, a pilot's watch, we'll say. Okay, I used to be a pilot, and I remember every time I saw a Breitling, I just thought, oh boy, I gotta have one of those someday. Anyway, okay, the next watch is the Omega Speedmaster Man on the Moon. And this particular model is running on what's called an Omega caliber 1140, and its base movement is the ETA 2890-A2, very popular movement. Now this is a chronograph, and I know about chronographs a bit now. And what can you say? I keep running into Speedmasters, and they're such a popular watch. If you want to find out about Speedmasters or Rolexes, there are forums that will tell you everything. And I don't want to act as though, well, I know everything about them, because I don't. But I do know this is that it came from a certain era when in the late 90s and early 2000s, they were going through a number of changes with the movements and so forth. Okay, this next watch down there is a Frederick Constant, and I like this one. Okay, it's a nice, clean watch, period. You could stick that thing on and you could wear it just about anywhere. It's the kind of watch you could wear to work. You could maybe dress it up with a gaiter strap or something and wear it to, something a little more fancy. Now, it's stainless steel, but you can't tell us. I can't. Maybe you can. I've got a platinum FP Journe, and I can't tell the difference between platinum and the stainless steel in my Harboring 2. So this one's stainless steel. I think they'll go anywhere. Okay, the Freddie Constant has a Sellita SW 200 in it. Now, all three of these watches, Breitling, Omega, and Frederick Constant, all have their own in-house movements. And Omega in particular has one that I really like, the coaxial, or the coaxial escapement. And this is something I think that's important, is to consider the movements in your watches. Now, ironically, the last watch in this first group is a Swatch. And this watch has what they call a System 51, which is a seal. They seal it inside the case. You can't get to it. You can't adjust it. You can't fix it. It's sort of like when the early Macintoshes came out, Steve Jobs didn't want anybody to get into them. The old Macs, or not the old Mac, but the old Apples, you could pop the top off of those and play with them all you wanted to. But these new Macs, he didn't want anybody messing with them. So he had these special screws made and sealed them up. The same thing with this watch. But it does have an in-house movement, System 51. And it's a well priced watch. It's the kind of watch that is to me it looks like a party watch. And by a party watch, I mean you're going out and you're having a good time, but it's not formal. Or you'd need something like the Frederick Constant. I just go out and have a good time with that watch, and not worry about anything in it. All right. Now, the second group of watches, excuse me, the second group of watches, there are a couple Seikos and an Orient. A Seiko 5 is just sort of like a fundamental watch. That's the 5 stands for 5 features that Seiko had added when they first made them, I mean, back in the 60s. But it's a nice solid watch, just a good watch for a mechanical watch. The Orient Mako Black is a diver's watch, and it's the kind of watch I certainly take with me diving. And yeah, it looks like other divers' watches. I wish I could, if I were a diver, I would probably know a lot more differences. Like my favorite diver's watch is a Doxa, and I think it runs on an ETA or something, but I just like the Doxa. I like the orange dial on it, I guess. Anyway, the Orient Mako Black. Yeah, that does have an in-house movement, and so does the Seiko 5. Now we come to this Seiko Divers watch that's modded with a Rolex Yachtmaster bezel. I don't know. I don't know. It's like putting a Rolls Royce grill on a VW Bug. I know why. Why would you do that? Okay, now let me tell you the issue that I have with moddings. Okay, there's usually some kind of incongruency. Okay, here you got this. I like I like the Seiko Divers with that purple dial on it, and I'm perfectly happy with the Seiko bezel, but the modification it doesn't. Someone says, "Oh, no one's going to mistake that for a Rolex." I don't think anyway, and if they did, so what? I mean, you got a Seiko's Divers watch, so I I don't know about modding like that. But yeah, that's okay. If you like it, if it makes you happy, what the heck? Who's to say otherwise? Okay, now given this collection, like I said, it's a comfortable one in terms of prices and so on and so forth. But what I would suggest is something a little different. Now, I picked out some watches, a very small sample, but I wanted to suggest something. Let's say that right after World War II, Rolex hired a really bad marketing company to sell Rolexes, and so they will say that the marketing company was the guys who had the lowest grade in the marketing class. And they came up with the bright idea that, well, we got to have somebody well known. And someone says, how about this? We'll say that Hitler wore a Rolex. Okay, now everybody knew who Hitler was, but I don't think they'd sell a Rolex after World War II if people thought that Hitler wore them. Of course, Hitler didn't wear it. He didn't have a wristwatch. He only used a pocket watch, from what I understand. But let's say they had that. Well, no one would buy it. But let's just say that somehow that they struggled along. They fired the marketing company, but this was in people's minds. So years later, somebody finds one, and they say, wow, this is really a good watch. How would they know? How would they know? Most people know about Rolexes from reputation. And this is how powerful it is. Now, if somebody says, oh, wait a minute, I don't want that because Hitler had it, that would make sense, but not in a horological sense. Okay, so I think that it's important to pay attention to the movements and the quality and the make of the watch more than reputation or anything else. Okay. The Omega Man on the Moon is one of the best known watches anywhere, ever. And for a good reason. I mean, it took it to the moon with him, and it was chosen by NASA to go into space. Hey, that's saying something. All right. But you've got to know that somehow in order for that to be valuable. Just like the Rolex. If Rolex rested just on its quality of its make, people would know it as well. All right, but as watch collectors, that's how we can find the best deals and find the best watches and find the best horology. And again, I'm talking about mechanical watches. All right, so let's take a look to stay within Martin's comfortable range. Okay, so looking at some watches and hey, maybe you could move this way a little and find some. And I picked out 4 of them. 2 of them are Girard-Perregaux, and one is LeCoultre, and the other is Zenith. All of these watches have in-house movements. They have quality movements. Jaeger-LeCoultre, Zenith, of course, is famous for its El Primero, and in my opinion, ought to be famous for the Elite, because I have one. And it's been a great watch. Now, a couple things I wanted to show here. One of the things in the lower left-hand corner that Girard-Perregaux, look at the lugs on that. They have beautiful lugs. This is my El Laura. These have the similar sort of nice-looking lugs on it, but not as nice as that Girard-Perregaux. Those are really cool. Little things like that. The Zenith looks, I don't know, it's a bad picture of a gold watch. It looks more like yellow rubber, the way the photographer, whoever sent that in. Sometimes the people who put their watches for sale on eBay and Girard-Perregaux, what are they thinking? Okay, well, listen, Martin, I want to thank you very, very much for sending me your watch collection and all the information you had with it. And I think, one thing I'll say is that since I got guy knows what he's doing. I mean, like, you got the watches you like. There's a good variety of them. I mean, they're not all the same, which I really like in a collection. But I think there's room to grow and still stay at a comfortable level, what you're comfortable at. And other thing, if you're interested in having your collection reviewed, there's a couple of incentives. At the end of May, I'm going to be having our next giveaway, and all of our subscribers who have sent in collections have a chance to win a free watch. I've given away 3 already. And so this will be the 4th one. And if you send in a collection, every time I have a collection, as long as you haven't won one, you're eligible. So shoot one to me. My email address is williebegood@att.net. And also, too, this is an invitation to subscribe. If you like these, you're welcome, more than welcome. Anyway, that's all for today, and this has been Bill Sanders for WatchArtSci, the art and science of watch collection. Hope to see you next Friday.